The Chapter 5 Season 4 Fortnitemares update is massive and has countless Easter eggs I guarantee you haven't seen yet, including the return of Galactus, free rewards, and much more, including the crazy amount of new skins coming to the item shop that I am still gifting to 5 subscribers every single day who drop a like, turn on all notifications, and leave a comment with their epic ID. I decided to gift the Sally skin today, and whenever you guys log on to Fortnite today, please take 2 seconds to type Doom in the Fortnite item shop. I seriously appreciate it. So if you guys land at the new Mount Olympus, there's a tiny Easter egg where you can show off to your friends because you can actually jump from the pumpkin head all the way down to a zip line at the bottom and survive. This has to be one of the craziest stunts in Fortnite history. So if you're a true Fortnite aficionado, you would know about this random hill that popped up on the map in the first update of Season 4. People were debating whether it had a hidden meaning or was just an honest mistake by the Fortnite team. And well, it looks like we got our answer with this update because the random hill named Hilbert by the community has been eliminated by Epic Games. Usually they would add some sort of memorial for places like this, so I can't lie, I'm kind of disappointed. Next up, guys, there's a ton of awesome cool features with the chainsaw that I need to show you guys. First of all, you can climb like straight up mountains with this thing that you normally wouldn't be able to run up or climb up. So that makes it super effective for getting high ground. And when you use it on these super steep slopes, sometimes it'll even launch you straight up in the air, which is absolutely nuts because you don't take fall damage either, so it's pretty OP. There was someone on Reddit that was doing this same method, and he actually was able to make it so he was able to just run straight on the hill after the chainsaw ran out of its like charge or whatever. So you guys may end up getting this glitch as well while you're trying to do this. I wasn't able to replicate it, but you guys should try. Another thing I wasn't able to do, but I know would be super OP, is by this pro player that was able to get this like super jump using the skull dashes from the underworld, or now Mephisto's underworld. It basically looks like he's using the chainsaw attack at the same time as he activates the dash, but I tried doing this for a very long time and I couldn't replicate it. So maybe I'm missing something and you guys can see what exactly he's doing. The NPC at Grim Gate actually sells a chainsaw, so you guys can try this glitch pretty easily because you can just instantly get a chainsaw at the beginning of a match. However, Fortnite just announced that they disabled the sprint attack with the chainsaw for some reason, and I don't know if it's related to this glitch or not because it doesn't look like he's sprinting, but also keep that in mind. And then finally, guys, I wanted to let you know that this thing is super good against the armored walls. Like, you can just tear through them almost instantly, so definitely keep that in mind when you're playing. But now for number 4, we all thought that Mephisto was completely invincible when he arrived to the island this update, but it turns out good defeats evil after all, because if you bring Captain America's shield to battle him, you can actually eliminate him. All you have to do is stand behind Mephisto, throw the shield in front of him, and then move behind him once again, and the shield will be able to penetrate Mephisto's force field. If you do this enough times, you will end up eliminating him. He doesn't drop a reward or anything, but hey, we don't do good deeds for the purpose of getting a reward. So next time you're playing, do your part and prevent other people from selling their souls to him. Otherwise, they will probably end up like Dr. Doom's mom, Cynthia. Now, a massive map change I'm sure you guys have seen is the Cuddle Team head by Redline Rig. However, it has changed a bit since the last time we saw it appear on the map in Chapter 4. You can see the original eyes are gone, and now there's additional metal flaps giving the bear a more evil look. This is especially interesting because back in Chapter 4, we had a quest where we needed to retrieve a stuffed animal for Amy at this same location. That teddy bear was teleported to another reality where it became evil, just like how this Cuddle Team head seems to have turned evil. It also left us a voice log telling us that the members of the 7 that were abducted are different now and have been sculpted into a new existence with a fate darker than the worst imaginable. Finally, we learn that something horrible is happening to the scientist. And well, if that isn't enough to convince you this story is being opened back up, consider the fact that a new selectable style for Paradigm was just released called Reality Warrior. This is a reference to the Reality Warriors that were introduced to us us in Chapter 4 at Brutal Bastion. The community theorized that the Reality Warriors are just an earlier version of the 7 because of the similar architecture of this POI. Personally, I'm very excited to find out more about what happened to the 7, but this Cuddle Team head leads us down another rabbit hole. The giant Cuddle Team head was originally introduced to us in Chapter 3 Season 3 during the Vibin season, and well, it just so happens that Epic Games added the entire Chapter 3 map back to the files in this update. Now, some data miners think that this was just a mistake, but there are a few different reasons it may have been on purpose. First of all, since we're getting a Chapter 2 OG season next, logically that would send us into Chapter 3 next. Now, obviously, I know that Chapter 1 OG didn't bring us straight into Chapter 2 since the final live event was slightly different, but Chapter 5 has a lot of similarities to Chapter 2. I mean, Midas came to the map in Chapter 5 Season 2 just like he did in Chapter 2, and we got a Marvel season this chapter for Season 4 just like we did in Chapter 2 as well. So I'm thinking it's possible once the Chapter 2 OG live event happens that sends us into Chapter 6, that Chapter 6 will end up having some similarities with Chapter 3. It's pretty crazy too that the 22.30 version of the Chapter 3 map that was just added back into the files was first released on November 1st of 2022, and that is the same day that this season's live event finale will occur on November 1st of 2024. Another small interesting fact is that next season's starter pack is a new version of Sid, who was a skin first introduced to us in Chapter 3. Now, I know that was a lot of information to take in at once, so let's take a quick break with some simple map changes you may have missed. Hope's house, which you can find near Sandy Steps, now is slightly different with a Halloween theme. It's interesting though, she's got a huge cauldron with purple liquid in it, which wasn't there before, and she's got a scarecrow on the medical bed now, which is kind of funny. We'll have to check here again next update though to see if she paints another mural based on her visions, because there hasn't been a new one recently. But next up, when you head over to Freaky Fields, also known as Diddy Fields now, there's a few small Easter eggs like the upside down room, which let's hope that means we'll get a Vecna skin someday. Then you have the pumpkin couple laying in bed, as well as a hidden bear with the pumpkin head with some interesting animal toys on the side. Someone on Reddit actually predicted that Freaky Fields would arrive during Fortnitemares, so I wonder if Epic Games changed the name last minute after seeing his post, or if he just had a good guess. And believe it or not, guys, with Freaky Fields replacing the train station, every single original Chapter 5 Season 1 POI has been changed, so huge props to the Epic Games team because they've done a fantastic job this chapter. And the fact we're only in the 4th season of the chapter and they already did this many changes is just wild. I'm sure you guys know about the Billy jump scare at Freaky Fields, but did you notice that the pickaxe he's using is not the one from his item shop set? It's a custom Saw themed axe instead, and it's a pretty clean pickaxe, so hopefully they end up selling this in the item shop as well. And well, speaking of Saw, did you know if you accept the challenge from the TVs and then end up eliminating your opponent, you can actually make your character go bald? Definitely try this in your next game, and then you can jump scare one of your friends yourself. Next up, another cool Easter egg having to do with skins is the Pumpkin King skin, because it has an awesome feature where the glow from your eyes projects on walls and objects in front of you. This is the only skin in the game that has this sort of effect from what I know, so that is pretty cool. And while we're talking about pumpkins, you can still find the rift beacons on the map where the pumpkins came from, which we know because right after the live event they started to appear around the beacons. And what's interesting about this is that the rift beacon at Restored Reels is now pointed at the Titan hand in the middle of the map. So how cool would it be if this beacon is used to awaken the Titan under the map for the live event finale? Data miners have already found that the live event countdown timer will appear in game at this location on the map. So if you guys have any theories on why it would be here of all places, feel free to let me know in the comments. Now, a little Easter egg that everyone missed is the fact that Mephisto's red water is draining from the river to the ocean right where Galactus's head is. I always thought if Doom was going to team up with Galactus, it's weird that his helmet would be on the opposite side of the map, but now that Mephisto is right next to it, it actually makes sense. If you didn't know, Galactus isn't actually dead anymore after the Devourer of Worlds live event, because in the comics in the same universe that we're currently in, Galactus was revived by the M-Cran crystal, so he's just roaming around in the universe right now. Also, Mephisto is unable to corrupt and control Galactus since Galactus doesn't have a soul. Therefore, Mephisto is pretty much forced to work with Galactus, like we saw when Galactus forced Mephisto to release the Silver Surfer from him. It's also just been leaked that Galactus will be in the new Fantastic Four movie, where he comes to Earth to try to find Franklin Richards, who is the son of Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic. Not only that, Marvel teased his arrival with the drone show at a recent Comic-Con, and since Marvel has already confirmed that they're going to give clues and hints to the storylines for upcoming Marvel films, it makes perfect sense that they brought Mephisto and Galactus this season. And I mean, we're headed into Chapter 2 OG, where we originally saw Galactus to begin with, so it's all coming together. We definitely don't have to worry about Doom anymore, because if you talk to Mephisto as Hope, he'll say, "Believe me, kitten, there is no greater joy than defeating Victor Von Doom." So yeah, he's officially defeated, but you get another savage line from Mephisto if you talk to him as Scarlet Witch, because he'll ask, "Wanda, how are your boys?" Even though he knows that he created her kids' souls and then stole them back from them, basically wiping them from existence. So yeah, that's a pretty harsh line. None of his custom NPC dialogue gives us any hints to how he'll affect the upcoming Fortnite storyline though, but thanks to Epic Games releasing a new wave of survey concept skins, we can get a glimpse of the theme of Chapter 6. Most of the new skins seem to have an outer space superhero motif, with each of them having a star on their chest. The only connection to Fortnite I've seen anyone make is the fact that in Chapter 4 Season 3, we learned about the people of the jungle that escaped and found a safe home among the stars. So yeah, that's pretty much the extent of the details we got about those guys, but it gets a little more interesting because the previous batch of survey skins, which should also be for Chapter 6, had a Japanese culture theme, and that is kind of the same theme we had in Chapter 4 Season 2 with Mega City. I've got some ideas on how this could all be connected, but I'm going to have to write it all out and put it in another video. So let's reel it back in and talk about one of the first confirmed Chapter 2 OG skins, which is the November crew pack skin named Kyron Eric. This is the male counterpart to the Kyra skin we got originally in Chapter 2, and fortunately she doesn't have any storyline relevance, so I don't need to try and think of ways she's connected to everything else. Unfortunately though, Fortnite revealed in their blog post that we're gonna have to wait until the end of Fortnitemares to get the new Rave Mellow skin that we saw in the Fortnitemares official artwork. Data miners were able to find out that his wrap and backbling will be reactive to eliminations, and the skin itself will be reactive to music, so I'm interested to see what they'll all look like. A car that no one is getting anymore though is the Incredibles vehicle. It was originally in the files when the skins came out, but they just removed it with the Fortnitemares update. I'm kind of surprised because I feel like it would have been a pretty popular car skin. Another thing that got removed apparently is the Jason Voorhees collab, because it was leaked on a TV show months ago, and even the official Friday the 13th Twitter was teasing its arrival the past few weeks. Fortnite does have a history of scrapping collaborations that get leaked early, but I'm pretty surprised they did it with this big of a crossover. And then finally, some other stuff that got scrapped in Fortnitemares was the candy consumables we usually get every year, because those were in the files. And then we have this pentagram logo that was supposed to show up at either Doom's Tower or maybe at Mephisto's Underworld. And then lastly, apparently Valeria was just deleted from the storyline because they were hinting towards her coordination with Dr. Doom with like her book and telescope at Doom's castle, but she never returned to the island for the final fight or anything, and we haven't heard anything else about her. And if you guys head on over to Restored Reels, you'll see brand new movie posters now. So there's one called Horde Rush 5, and the reason that it's episode number 5 is because this year is the 5th time that we've gotten the Horde Rush game mode. And then you've got other ones like Gord, Night Creatures, and then the one I'm most interested in is Hounds of Hades, because I'm wondering if we'll end up fighting these hounds or something, because if you didn't know, these movie posters usually predict what's going to come into Fortnite, because as you can see from these previous ones like Odyssey 6, that predicted the Chapter 5 Season 2 theme overall. And then also this Revenge of the Coral Buddies poster actually has a funny Easter egg too that's still on the map, because if you go all the way on the east side of the map to this really obscure and random cave, you'll see that the coral buddies fought back against the gnome and actually have him trapped right now. So you guys should definitely check this out before the chapter is over. And speaking of obscure things, I couldn't help but notice that the new train design with that ghostly face on the front looks pretty similar to that weird looking ghost face that we had in that Sloan loading screen from way back. And I know that seems super random, but we have had Sloan teasers like in game at Hope's house for almost the entire chapter now. So I'm just saying, if this ends up connecting somehow, I'm gonna say I called it right now. And well, finally guys, there's this new treasure map in the files that shows some of the POIs that are gonna be coming to Fortnite Reload pretty soon, which include Haunted Hills, that super tall mountain in the middle of the map, and also the Tomato Town tunnels. So yeah, we can look forward to that. And someone from Reddit noticed that the Fortnite Reload map is shaped almost exactly the same as the Oahu Island in Hawaii. So I thought that was a cool little fun fact. But drop a like if you learned something new, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.